Hi, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Groomer Next Door. I am your co-host, Chris Green, and sitting next to me is Sarah Green. And instead of calling this a podcast, let's change that to a PUPcast, considering this is all about pups and the health and well-being of our pups. So anyways, with all that said, let me pass you over to Sarah.
Well, hello everybody. I hope everyone's had a great week. I know we've had a lot of snow, very cold weather, and luckily we've been pretty busy. Of all types of dogs today, all week really. It's been quite nice.
It has.
Let's see, today I wanted to go over a few different things on how to pick a groomer, the one that best fits your pup's needs, best fits your pup's personality, and so forth. And then I want to also add in when to schedule your next appointment. What's the best bet? Whether I should go 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we'll cover that too. And then what tool is best to use on your particular pup. And different types of shampoos to use as well.
And as we had said at the end of the last episode, this is when we're going to actually start going into full details. Last episode was our intro, and this is going to be, the starting day. Last one was like your first day of school, just the fun little things. So sit back and again, we actually want to say this. Thank you for the 200 plus views already in just a couple days. We really appreciate all of you listening to our show. Today we're actually coming to you from McDonald's. Our daughter is playing, so she may jump in every so often and say something. So, like we had said from the beginning, we're both parents, so we're going to try to do this show while parenting at the same time. So bear with us.
Yeah, the little one's running around with another little girl having a blast, so maybe they'll have fun for a little bit longer. Anywho, let's get back to picking out a good groomer. All groomers are different. All groomers have their own techniques, styles, and their version of breed cuts. You got to really kind of feel out your groomer, kind of look at them, talk to them, see how their personality is. If they're straightforward and very short, maybe a little dry sense of humor, if your pet is somewhat the same way, very calm, mellow, goes with the flow, doesn't really need special attention, that would be a great groomer to have. Because I guarantee you they're probably very particular on making sure their lines are correct and everything's thoroughly done. Which every groomer should have that anyways, but and if you have a bubbly groomer who is bouncing up and down, high energy, that would be a great one for young dogs around the 1 year old, where in a sense the groomer and the dog kind of grow up together, and it's kind of fun, really. But you got to be careful. You want to watch what they do in the salon, because there are some groomers out there that are not the absolute nicest. We will definitely try our hardest. I speak for every groomer out there. We can try our hardest on how to take care of your pet properly. Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed on our part is we actually are very upbeat and energetic. One thing I've noticed in this industry is we try to act like when we're going to a hairstylist, when we're picking out a person to cut our hair, you want somebody that you can relate to. And that's exactly what Sarah's talking about. Relating to the groomer and your pup is the most important. There are a lot of shy dogs that need that bubbly personality because it makes them feel more comfortable when they're in the grooming table. You want to make sure that I've even seen this getting my hair cut. You'll have a standoffish hairstylist. You don't want them touching your head, so you're really concerned that they're not touching your pup.
Well, he makes very good points there. Don't be shy in telling a groomer that you are a little upset with how they handle them, or you want somebody else. Don't be shy. It's your pup. It's your money that you're spending, and don't ever be shy.
Ask plenty of questions up front when you're meeting up with your groomer for the very first time. Word of mouth is always going to be the number one thing. If you have the resources of going on Yelp or Google, or just even speaking with your neighbors down the street next door to you, whether you live in an apartment complex or you have your home, around town, you'll be able to find out a lot of information on your groomer, and that's the most important that you can go with, because you want to make sure when you're leaving your pup, it's the same as when you leave your kid for school. You want to make sure that you're leaving him with somebody that's competent and will actually take very good care of your pup while you're not around.
See, I know my personal style is dealing with the really nervous dogs, the super scared dogs. I know once I first started the salon where I'm at now, there was one particular pup, little Katie. Katie was the sweetest little schnauzer I've ever met, but the poor thing was just so, nervous and high strung. And a lot of pups can be that way. It's one of those things you just got to deal with it, work with it, and hopefully everything gets better after a while. Well, she was really scared about going into the salon and into our shop originally, because you go into the shop, which we have all of the products for sale, where you check in for boarding and for grooming. Well, she was real nervous about getting in. So I gained the trust of the owner. I took Katie's leash, and Katie walked with me outside in a neutral area. Walked outside, went in circles for a couple minutes to the point where I was leading her and she wasn't leading me. Then we went up to the steps, went back down the steps, up the steps again. We did that about 3 or 4 times, and she trusted me. Well, then we decided to go inside the actual shop. So, once again, we went up the steps, into the shop, outside the shop, down the steps. We did that about 4 times. Well, then we took her from the shop into the grooming salon, and then from the grooming salon into the bathing room, and then front of the shop, and outside, back in the shop, back in the grooming room, and so forth. So after a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes of doing this, I decided to go back outside, sit down on the ground, and have Katie sit on me, petting her, talking to her owner, and as she can feel her owner understanding what's going on and her owner relaxing and not being so nervous with me, Katie felt that. And Katie started calming down. And we go into the salon. Perfect little girl. Perfect for the blow drying, bathing, haircut. And you know what? She ran into the salon again the next time it was time for her to get groomed. It was amazing.
This is one of the great stories that we can provide for you throughout this podcast or PUPcast. That's one of the great stories that honestly, hopefully, will help many people. Well, what's the next topic we want to go on?
Well, once you picked a groomer that is good for you, good for your pup, and you get your pup home and you realize, you know what, my pup doesn't seem too aggravated, too upset with me, not very scared, we should book another appointment. Now, one thing I do want you to keep in mind is that sometimes when the dog comes back, they could have had an amazing experience, a very good experience, but they got home and was very little one wanted to drink, but it was very good experience, and yet they were still scared. Just keep in mind it might take 1 or 2 times.
For just all the listeners, hold on, Claire. Why don't you come over here and say hello?
Say hi.
Hi, what's your name?
All right. She doesn't understand that this is an actual podcast. So she doesn't understand that that's not somebody on the other end of the phone. But just wanted to kind of let that kind of slip in.
Everybody?
Sorry about that.
Everybody, that was Claire. Claire, this is everybody. Anywho, so, like I was saying, if your pup still feels and acts like he's a little nervous from coming home from being groomed, give it one more chance. We'll see how one or, even a second chance after that might be a good idea. You never quite know right off the bat if it was a bad experience or not.
Well, our dogs are very much like children in your experience, correct?
Quite a bit, a lot alike, yeah.
So when you see a child, like for reference, I mean, referencing our own child and her first days to school, did you notice a little bit to comparison to a dog's first and second visit?
Claire's first day of school coming home, she was excited, but she was still kind of nervous to go back. She didn't quite know what to expect. And you gotta think that way along dogs' lines, too, is that they don't quite know whether they like it or not. But it's always important, even if your pup does have anxiety or separation issues, to make sure you keep up on their grooms. Again, this is long-haired dogs or dogs that have to have their hair cut or they knot up and, get sick.
Now, I have a question for you. Something a lot of people don't know. What are some of the things that you need to have vaccination-wise to get your dog pup done? Do you have to have any kind of visits to the vet?
Well, at my shop that I work at now, for grooming, you don't have to have any vaccinations, but it's good to stay up on your shot records for your pet, like parvo and so forth, to protect your pup alone. But
Well, so then in these circumstances, just check your local groomer for any kind of details they may have.
some groomers have to have proof of rabies shots, so that if they get bit, that does happen. If they get bit, that they're covered and they don't have to go to the doctor and get 10 shots in the belly.
All right.
So we want to stay away from that. But anywho, back to my original subject about the when to get a pup groom. If your dog has long hair or medium hair and you have an issue of matting, or the hair sticks in the eyes or gets in the mouth or tangles the feet, you really need to schedule an appointment in 6 weeks. You get dog groomed, you wait your 6 weeks, come on back to your groomer. For those who want dog's hair to be real long, like say if you have a Shih Tzu, a Lhasa, a Maltese, even a Pomeranian, it's real important for Pomeranians since they do have such a thick undercoat. Bring them every 4 weeks for at least a good tidy. Trim up between the eyes, get the feet, the sanitary, and a real good brush out. And then that helps increase your chances of your pet's hair being longer for a longer period of time.
So pretty much what we're trying to tell you is this is not a ploy to actually make money. This is actually for your dog's health and well-being.
Exactly. There are things you can do to make the grooms go longer. My heart goes out to quite a few people who, they love their pet. They love their pet so much. They need that pet in their life, but they can't necessarily afford a $40 groom every 6 weeks. Well, okay, not a problem. We can extend that to 8 weeks, maybe even a little longer, if you help keep up their grooming at home, which would be regular brushings, bathing ever so often. You don't want to bathe too much or you'll dry your dog's skin out. But when you have a long-haired dog or a dog that has hair, I would say anything more than 1.5 inches, I say you really should probably keep up on the brushing part. Get a slicker brush. A slicker brush is an amazing tool. The slicker brush, what makes it so amazing is that the bristles are actually bent. You gotta look at it kind of sideways to see it. They don't look like human brushes. They're not Furminators or rakes or anything like that. It's a slicker brush, bent bristles. And you can move the bristles around to determine whether they're a hard slicker or a soft slicker. I suggest to people a soft slicker due to the fact that a little less experience in that area, no offense whatsoever, but the softer means less chances of brush burn, which is when you take the brush and you press too hard against the dog's skin and it reveals either scratch marks or little red dots. I guess I can explain it that way. And get a comb. A regular comb, metal bristles. You do not want a plastic bristle comb. Don't do it. All they're going to do is just bust off. And after you're done slicker brushing, the pup from head to toe, follow it up with a comb. And then with the comb stops in any particular spot, try to move some of the hair around. And look, I guarantee you'll find a knot, a burr, or some kind of vegetation. And pick it apart a little bit. Maybe just pull it a little and tease it with a little bit of the comb. And that knot will come out. And then wash your pup every 3 weeks or as needed. If you do it more than once every 3 weeks, I suggest putting conditioner to help soothe the skin and calm the skin. And with doing it that way, it'll keep the dirt and debris away. And by keeping the dirt and debris away, the hair won't mat and tangle and knot as easily. It's very important. If your dog's shedding, then you can get there's a thing called rubber Zoom Groom. It's by the makers of Calm. And it has little rubber spikes. And I'm telling you, that stuff is amazing. It cleans the top coat through the static electricity in the air.
When I first saw it, I actually thought it was something that you could put soap on until I actually looked more into it. I hadn't seen one of those, and this is from before I even started working in this type of field.
And what's great, you're right. You can use it in the bathtub. If you got a really dirty dog and you get that shampoo on there, you can take this rubber Zoom Groom from Calm and you can massage in circles. It gives them a miniature massage. I mean, what dog doesn't like a massage? What human doesn't like massage, right? And as you're doing that, not only is the dog loving it and about ready to fall asleep, it's massaging the skin, help creating proper hair growth while releasing shedding hair. It's an amazing thing. I'm sorry. When I first used it, I was in awe, to say the least. So, like I said, every 6 weeks will be the best for your dog to get groomed. Nice haircut, tidy, or even just a bath. Now, I go along with the same thing if you have a short hair dog and you prefer to bathe your short hair dog at home on your own. Okay, save you some money. I'm all for that too. If I were you, pick a good shampoo. The stuff you get at Walmart, I'm kind of iffy on those. Definitely stay away from the Hearts shampoos. I've noticed a lot of dogs having allergic reactions to them. I know Pet Head's a pretty good shampoo. It seems to be working on some of my clients. But more of the specialty shampoos is the best. Once again.
Now, one thing that I had a question for, that I think a lot of people would question is, does a lot of different groomers charge extra to give a bath? Does it cost extra to get a bath with your groom, or is it part of a standard fee?
Well, it should be. Every grooming salon is going to be different. It should be, my opinion, that the bath should come along with the price of the groom. Because you really cannot get a good haircut if the bath isn't administered at the same day of that groom. Okay, but for the pups who get washed at home, wash real good, scrub real good, but rinse, 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 rinse. I cannot stress that enough. Most of the time, I get calls, I don't understand, my dog is itching, I just bathed it the other day, why is he scratching? Take your dog back into the tub and rinse, rinse, rinse. Don't put any more shampoo, just rinse. And then sure enough, a couple days later, the dog was fine. It was because the shampoo was left on too long. And for those who wash their dogs at home, if your dog isn't a nightly walker or the daily walker and walk on concrete for a long period of time, their nails might grow at a rapid pace and they don't grind their nails down themselves. So I definitely suggest every 4 to 6 weeks, come in to the groomer, get the dog's nails trimmed. The longer the nails get, the dogs are either going to chew them off or they're just going to bust. And the problem with both of those is that where the line is chewed or where the line of breakage is not guaranteed. They could break their nail far off of the quick, which is the bloodline that grows inside the nail, or they can bust the nail to the point where they're just gushing blood. So it's extremely important. If you wash your dog at home, take care of him at home. He's, Jack Russell Terrier, a boxer, just something you can take care of on your own. Bring him into the groomer for at least the nails and maybe an ear cleaning. Ear cleaning is important too.
Now, can you touch a little bit? This is still kind of pre-groom material, but just say, for example, somebody was to say, well, what's this whole ear thing you're talking about? Can you explain just briefly?
Ear cleaning is a very important part of grooming process too. It should be done with every single groom that you get. And if it's not done, I will definitely question the groomer if I were you. I know my service is every dog that hits my table or gets on my table, their ears, nails are done. Unless by special request, then I won't. But ear cleaning for a short-haired dog, they just need some ear cleaner, cotton ball, and some swabbing. Get some of that dirt and debris out, soothe the ear too. Dogs that grow hair from the inside of their ear canal out, that hair needs to be pulled out with proper ear powder and technique. Because some dogs don't like it, but some dogs don't even care. But that's important to get done, because if you leave the hair in there, you leave the gunk in there, it's just going to fester, and all of a sudden you got 2 ear infections that are extremely hard to get rid of.
And an ear infection is very easy to detect, isn't it?
Yes, by the smell, by the look, the greasiness to it. Yeah, it can be. Any other questions about it? If you think that your dog has an ear problem, talk to the vet, see what the vet says. Now, another part I want to talk on is puppies. It's extremely important when you get a puppy. Most people think, I got a puppy, I am going to wait till the last minute to get him groomed. I'm going to wait till they're 6 months old so they're older and they understand. That is a terrible idea. I'm sorry, I hope I don't upset anybody, but that is a terrible idea. The best idea for puppies, you get them at, I believe as early as, some get them as early as 7 weeks. Well, once your pup has both set of puppy shots, at, I think it's 8 weeks old, I think they get their second set of puppy shots. But you can get them groomed as early as 8 weeks or 9 weeks old. Get them used to the clippers. Get them used to being handled by other people that aren't their family. Get them used to the noises, the smells, the interaction, holding the hair on their chin, playing with their pads, trimming their nails, cleaning their ears. The majority of puppies that come in at a very young age end up being very confident into seeing that person, especially if you bring them into the same groomer. They get used to it, they enjoy it, they actually start looking forward to it. But if you take a puppy that's 6 months old and you throw everything at him, you're throwing blow drying, hair cutting, trimming nails, vibrating stuff on their feet, messing around with their eyes, moving their ears, you're going to freak that puppy out with something fierce. So please, everybody who gets a puppy, bring them in as soon as possible so that the groomer can help. And once again, that's important, trying to find a good groomer, because you want your puppy to have the best start it possibly can. So make sure your groomer, you can tell and you can sense that deep down inside, they're actually very sweet and nice and genuine and comforting. A mother-like sense of security for the puppy. If you feel it, the puppy should feel it. And then hopefully, as the puppy gets older, it grows into be a confident, beautiful dog. Did you have anything else to?
Well, since we're on pre-grooming, little things like that, we only have a few more minutes left. So let's just try to get the elephant out of the room, and that was the one term that we weren't going to use after this. And after I say the word, we'll just go off of the word gland, but anal glands. The importance of anal glands.
Well, anal glands are very not nice, I guess you can say. Every dog under their every dog has a set of anal glands. Okay, by the name of it, I'm pretty sure you know where they're at. Under their tail, if you lift their tail up, there's normally two bulges, one on each side of their areas, and those glands collect toxins and build up right there. Now, they can be expressed, and the toxins can be released from the body two different ways: external and internal. Most groomers will not do internal, so you'll have to take them to a vet. You'll need an internal expression if the dog's glands are impacted because they haven't been expressed in so long. A medical issue of some sort. That's when the groomer would say, hey, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. You're going to have to take your dog to the vet. They really mean it. You really need to take your dog to the vet. Now, you can do it externally, which most groomers should. Some may charge more because it is very, very gross. But done properly, it shouldn't faze a groomer. You get the dog's behind wet and nice and sudsy. You express them, suds it up again, rinse it off, and if you still smell it, suds it up again. And then it's done and over with. But large dogs tend to not need it because they are big enough, they can put pressure and express them themselves just by going poo. Little dogs, not so much. They don't have that pounds per pressure to express themselves. So they need just a little bit of help from us groomers. But if your dog starts smelling fishy, an awkward odor, scooting their butt, you might want to ask the groomer if there's any way about doing that. And if they get a lot out, that's good. If they hardly get anything out and it still feels kind of poofy down there, definitely take it to the vet.
All right, well, unfortunately, that concludes our time. We have about 30 seconds left. In the last 30 seconds, is there anything else that you'd like to say on pre-grooming tips?
No, if any questions, call the groomer. If it sounds fishy, call another groomer.
And of course, we're here to answer any questions that you send. You can always email us at the Groomer Next Door, all one word, the Groomer Next Door at yahoo.com. give us a question and we'll do our best to find an answer. Obviously, Sarah has all those answers.
And look us up on Facebook too, the Groomer Next Door. It'll say associated with the PUPcast.
Yeah, it'll say associated with the podcast, The Groomer Next Door. We are on Facebook as well. So anyway, thank you for listening to our podcast this week.
And remember, life is short. Play with your pup.
Bye.